Well, next, two bleak warnings about the ability of places like Hull to recover from the pandemic. The think tank IPPR North says the city is experiencing unemployment levels not seen in quarter of a century and that more children are being plunged into poverty across the north than elsewhere in England.
But the government, which has announced £4 billion worth of investment for the north, says it is committed to levelling up opportunities across the whole of the UK. More from Michael Billington.
Higher child poverty, lower life expectancy, fewer job opportunities. How the gap between life in the north and the rest of England is said to be deep and growing. It's a regional divide Karen is feeling all too acutely. At Beverley's Cherry Tree Community Pantry, similar to a food bank, she makes a £4 contribution for her bag of groceries. A part-time admin worker, the cost of working from home during the pandemic means money is tight.
I've just had to massively increase my internet budget because everything's on Zoom. Heating, it costs a fortune to work at home in the winter. It's uncomfortable, and when you have to come and say to other people, I'll take the help, then nobody wants to be in that position really, do they?
It's a familiar story for the pantry, which was quickly overwhelmed by demand when it opened 6 weeks ago.
This project is funded till March. I think we're looking at 5 years to even get anywhere near, because the amount of job losses, the amount of people who are just struggling. I've got professional people that come here. They've been to university, they've got good jobs, but they can't afford to live, they can't afford to eat. So do you pay your rent, pay your mortgage, or do you eat? Which one do you choose?
The north is now experiencing levels of unemployment not seen for quarter of a century. Hull has the third highest claimant rate in the north, with around 16,000 people on some sort of benefit. In East Yorkshire, that figure's around 8,600. Across Yorkshire and the Humber, almost a third of children live in poverty. In education and skills in Hull and the East Riding, only a third of people have a qualification at NVQ level 4 or higher. What are you studying? Hull student Austin has found himself at the sharp end of the search for a job.
I was applying for 20 a day. I applied for retail, bartending and care work. I didn't get many responses.
Today, the report's authors claim the growing gulf between north and south has been accelerated by COVID-19.
Places like Hull are now in Tier 3 and are not getting any extra support as a result of that. And we think that's quite serious, and we think that we need to make sure that we're putting as much support as possible into areas like Hull to make sure that the businesses can come back after this pandemic is over.
But for their part, the government insists they are committed to reducing inequalities across the whole of the country.
Today, I'm announcing a new Levelling Up Fund worth £4 billion.
The Chancellor committing more money for investment, specifically in the north, during his spending review last month.
I am so cross that they have put forward that as a way of levelling up areas like mine. It's competitive, so we've all got to bid against one another in the north. What I want the government to do is have a proper plan for areas like mine and other parts of the north to ensure that there is levelling up across the whole of the north of England, and we are not set against each other in this way. It's just wrong.
The Treasury says the UK will build back better and fairer after the pandemic, but there remain fears tonight that the economic recovery for some parts of the country will be far more painful and long-lasting than others. Michael Billington, ITV News in Hull.
Well, you've been discussing this on social media today. Dawn Overton posted, I think this pandemic has highlighted significant socio-economic differences that were already unreported when the north-south divide was discussed.
Yes, Aaron Bent adds, I think that the government is making the right decisions on future development for the north. 2 massive train building facilities are up here.
But Conor Mooney says the north-south divide is very prominent, not only with government, but with the public. We're constantly overlooked and seen as lesser than anyone in the south.
Nicola Wildball says the south might have the money, but they don't have the same community spirit. Money is not everything.
Well, thanks very much for all those comments. And remember, as always, you can join in the conversation. It's at facebook.com/calendar news.
Well, still to come.